Sager, Lexington local, and Ashley Rooney in a different role, different hat.
That's true.
What's your hat today, Ashley?
Town Celebrations Committee.
Oh.
Town Celebrations does Veterans Day, Memorial Day,
Patriots
Day is a big one.
Wow.
And then there are a few other little things like we're having Dance Around the World this year. I'll probably come back to you about that.
Okay.
And that's really exciting. And we're having a Christmas concert this December, which is free, family sing-along type thing. But today I thought we'd talk about Veterans Day, which is coming up fast. And Lexington has always celebrated its veterans. They feel they're very important, and they do a breakfast, and then they do a ceremony.
Okay.
And where I got really involved this year is we decided to get younger people involved. The last 2 years of the pandemic, we had a parade, which was really neat, but the committee decided to go back to a ceremony. And maybe we'll change that next year. But to get younger people involved, we decided to have History Hunt.
Oh.
Because, you know, you live here for years.
Right.
And nobody really knows anything about the history.
True.
You know,
I thought we won the battle.
A lot of people do. A lot of people think we won it. And I live on the street where Paul Revere goes galloping down every year, and people say, well, why is he riding down that street? And I'm thinking, oh my goodness. So we designed a history hunt, basically designed for the 8 to 12-year-olds, but I have a feeling their parents are going to have an interesting time with some of it. Like, I was on the committee for the World War II anniversary. It turns out there are about 3 plaques in this town, all of which have different number of dead for World War II from Lexington, some of which have duplicate names. So we had this wonderful researcher on that committee, and she found out that we only had 55 who died in World War II. Not as many as some thought that was up in the 70s, not as low as others thought, and you see it only 5 or 6. And we have a new plaque up in Cary Hall, which was designed, of course it went
Is that
up
one of the questions? Are you helping me out here?
Yeah, I'm helping you out. You might win the big prize. I can announce your name. But, you know, it's like the other day I heard people talking about the 6 Lexington ships. They're not 6 Lexington ships. There are... Oh, you don't know? Oh, okay, 5.
Okay.
But there's 6 plaques up there because the Lions gave Lexington a plaque for all the Lexington ships that we had named after Lexington. But it's sort of intriguing when you think about it. And I found myself, there are 8 dead from the actual battle on the green, but only 7 are buried underneath the obelisk. Whatever happened to number 8?
Yeah.
You know, and I couldn't. Matter of fact, last night I looked it up on Wikipedia, and I could not find what happened.
Really? Maybe something for the Historical Society
to look at and so forth. So we thought we could have a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
I could see the kids taking this home, and quizzing their parents, and everybody scratching their head saying, "Okay."
Now I know 2 answers.
You know 2 answers, and if they watch this, they can get some of those answers. They can also go on Wikipedia. They may have to go to a few places. So that is to make Veterans Day a little more interesting. Because you remember as kids we used to stand for that moment of silence. Doesn't happen. None of that happens. And it's sort of like we have our vets. I've had 2 husbands, both of them were vets, and my son, there she is. And there's Linda to tell us about Veterans Day. Kind of from the beginning on the Veterans Day ceremony, she does a good deal of the organization, working out the program, trying to figure out this year. It was a great debate where it was going to be held. You know, in a small town, it's amazing to have volunteers do what we do. I mean, when I found that Patriots Day was run totally by volunteers, I was like, oh my goodness.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
That's a lot. So you're also on the town committee?
Town Celebration Committee. I am.
And can you just tell me a little bit about that? Because we didn't really talk about that. Like, how many people on it? Can you get on it? Do they always look at you?
We're always looking.
The Town Celebrations Committee is appointed by the Select Board. So, it's an official town committee. Oh, at the moment, I think we have about 22 members.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's a lot of work to do, so we need a lot of people. And we are responsible for managing the major celebration events in town. Patriots Day, Memorial Veterans Day, but also we've added to our responsibilities Martin Luther King Day.
That's a big one.
Yeah, yeah.
Dance around the world.
The Dance Around the World.
And the Christmas concert
Yeah.
coming up
And
on December 11th.
some ad hoc celebrations that come up throughout the year. That if it's a community celebration, then that's us. And I like to say to people, one thing that sets us apart, we bring joy. Unlike some committees, where people have to go and ask permission, like finance or zoning, and they might get turned down. We just make people happy. At least we try. We try
Nice.
to. So
That's a good committee.
exactly.
And we would love to have more members. They apply through the select.
Yes, because we're a town committee, people have to apply for to be appointed by the select board.
Okay.
But there are always vacancies because we're such a large committee. There's quite a bit of turnover. And the select board is anxious to welcome new members. And we've got quite a bit of diversity. Yes, we're happy to say we're getting more and more diverse all the time. We're happy to welcome younger members, as every committee is, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how much of a commitment is it? Like, is it monthly meetings? Can you break off little things? Like, how bad is it?
Well, we're working hard to break it up into pieces.
Okay.
We're seasonal.
Okay.
We generally will meet every other week, twice a
Okay.
month. It's a commitment. Wednesday evenings, twice a month.
Okay.
Then as the big day approaches, we will meet weekly. Then there's a break. I have to say, Patriots Day, Memorial Day, April, May, they follow right on. So March, April, May are very busy.
Okay.
Then we take the summer off. And we don't really start planning for Veterans Day until mid to late September. Once Veterans Day is over, we have a break from mid-November to mid-January, and then we meet twice a month until March. So we get rest periods
Nice.
in between.
And you also don't have to sign up for everything. We'd
Right.
like to have everybody involved, but say this Veterans Day committee is not involving the whole group. There are people who are not involved at all.
Oh no, we have a lot of working groups. For
Okay.
instance, I'm the person in charge of the Veterans Day Veterans Day celebration. So I'm the choreographer, the director. Now because that's a big job.
Right.
I'll take it easy, a little easier for the next celebration. I'll do a job, I'll work.
Right.
But I won't have a leadership position.
Right. Yeah.
Fair is fair.
And people probably take on the things that are most meaningful to them, right? So, as you were saying, you were in the service.
I was.
Tell us about that.
I spent 20 years in the Massachusetts Army National Guard,
Wow.
and I retired as a lieutenant colonel.
Wow.
And I was mostly, well, it's interesting, I was kind of a pioneer. I was one of the first women to join the National Guard in 1976,
Wow.
a long time ago. It was an all-male organization. So my first job, one of my early jobs, was to be an advisor to the Adjutant General of the Guard, to advise him on the assimilation of women
Wow.
into the Guard. And then I was a public affairs officer. And during Operation Desert Storm, during the first invasion of Kuwait, some National Guard units were mobilized for the first time since World War II.
Wow.
This was a shock.
Yeah.
So I just happened to be in a job where I organized and ran the family support service. So families here at home had a support network for their loved one who was sent overseas.
Wow.
This is an aside from the celebrations committee, but I want to put in a plug for the
Okay.
National Guard. People do not understand the sacrifices National Guard soldiers make. They have a career.
Yeah.
They are citizen soldiers.
Right.
And if they get deployed overseas for a year, they have to drop everything, leave their career entirely, leave their current salary, and work for a year at the salary of their military rank, which could be a major reduction in their salary.
Right.
And just take off and go away for a year
Wow.
and come back and hope that their job is waiting for them when they get back. By law, it is supposed to be. That doesn't always work out. And that's quite a sacrifice. In fact, another thing that I'm doing with the Celebrations Committee, this week, we're putting on a veterans panel at Lexington High School.
Oh.
2 members of the Lexington Police Department are going to come and talk to the high school students. One of them was a National Guardsman. He was deployed 4 times to Bosnia, Cuba, Iraq, and Afghanistan.
Wow.
Well, Steve always said the worst thing he did for National Guard was Katrina. That was the hardest thing on the unit.
Right,
Katrina
so-
was awful.
Yeah, because they're called up more so at home, right?
Right.
Frequently for
Right,
disasters.
right,
And
Yes,
so it's a
exactly.
disaster. We ought to move on though.
Back
So
to the happy
the
stuff.
Veterans Breakfast.
Yes.
We've been doing this for years and years and years. We have a Veterans Breakfast for veterans and their families.
Oh.
And it's a very nice affair. We get a couple of hundred people.
Nice.
Veterans, of course, are coming in free. They're our guests. And this is Saturday, November 5. It's this coming Saturday. And we do request a $10 donation for any other family member or guest. The highlight of the breakfast, we have now 100 of these. We ask all of our veterans, send us a picture of yourself when you were young and in the military. And they send us a picture of themselves in their uniform, sitting on a tank or something. We have 100 of them. We have a lovely slideshow we've put together, and we show it to them. And now these people, 10, 20, 30, 40 years later, look at themselves, and everybody tries to guess who is that person. And that's a really fun part of the breakfast. Yeah.
It's a very lively time. It's
Yeah.
a wonderful time.
Yeah, and they love to get together, old friends, and just share good times and memories. It's very nice.
That is a
Yes.
nice honor.
And we will have the Veterans Day observance, of course, on Friday, November 11 at Kerry Hall. And I bet a lot of Lexingtonians do not know that Lexington is home to the first woman who ever served as the head of a major U.S. military service. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's because
I
you're
know.
smart.
I know. But I'm not sure which one it is.
Well, Sheila
Sheila.
Widmell,
Okay. Yeah.
former MIT professor, was the secretary of the Air Force under President Bill Clinton. And she will be our keynote speaker.
Nice.
We also, every year, we invite students at Lexington High School to write essays on what Veterans Day means to me. And we've invited 2 of them to read their essay, and that's always very charming.
And
very nice.
what's wonderful about these essays is that they're not just about American vets. They're about vets from India who fought for the British World War II, and he talked about his grandfather fighting against the British, the Raj and so forth, in the Korea and Chinese Red Armies.
Well, so many of the Lexington students have grandparents, other members of their family who came from, as Ashley says, Korea, India, China, Turkey, Lebanon, Britain, Norway, and they talk about their ancestor or their relative who fought for another military service in another country, And one of the themes that comes out over and over again, and these young people tell it every year, is that if you are a member of the military, you subscribe to the same values of honor and service and discipline and loyalty. It doesn't matter what service you belong to, and that it's a fraternity. Military service is a brotherhood and a fraternity, sisterhood. And it comes out so clear from the writings of these people who are writing about a dear family member who means something to them. And we very much enjoy having them read some of these essays because it's so universal.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Sounds like nice events you put together.
Yes.
They are. And then, of course, we have the Lexington High School Band.
Oh.
And they are larger than ever. We found out they have 60 members or something. They're
Wow.
bigger than ever. And they play lots of spirited marching music, and it's a good opportunity to showcase them. They're very talented.
And they do the service songs.
Okay.
And so we ask the audience to stand up. And this year we're going to ask the families who supported them to also stand up. And I know it's one of the essays mentioned that.
So when the Army song is played,
I
every
can stand
veteran,
I can stand up too.
the Army stands up and the audience claps. I mean, it's really,
That's fun.
it's
Yeah.
old home
Yeah.
folksy,
Yeah. And
Fun.
it's real chills, right?
Yeah, it does little chills and kind of tears in your eyes and you think,
Yeah.
well, this is what I grew up with.
Yes, it is. It's a small town, really. And then you've heard from Ashley, we have this new feature, the History Hunt, which we
It's gonna be
deliberately
fun.
wanted to involve kids.
We'll see if it works.
Yeah.
But
You're trying new things
try a
now.
new thing. Meanwhile, I can quiz people like you.
Right?
Yes, we want to keep it fresh. We always try to add something, not the same old. For tradition, we do need to keep some of the same elements, but we do want to bring in some fresh elements.
So now everyone knows. I did not even know we had all of these events around veterans. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you for
being
your
so on time.
Thank you so much for
Yeah.
inviting us,
Yeah.
giving us
This is
this
gonna be
chance
fun.
to tell everybody, please
And don't forget the
come
Christmas
to Veterans
concert.
Day, November 11, Cary Hall, 11 o'clock.
All right. Good to know.